Persia, a name that once commanded respect across the world, a name that kings feared and empires admired. For thousands of years, it stood as a symbol of power, culture, and identity. But then, something strange happened. The name Persia disappeared. Not through war, not through destruction, but through a decision, a single choice that changed how the world would remember an entire civilization. Today, we don't call it Persia anymore. We call it Iran.
But why would a country erase a name that powerful? For centuries, the world knew this land as Persia. From Europe to Asia, that name carried power, wealth, culture, influence. Long before modern countries existed, Persia was already a superpower. Under kings like Cyrus the Great, it became one of the largest empires in history. Persia wasn't just powerful, it was advanced. Road systems, laws, tolerance of religions. It shaped the world. But here's something most people don't know. Persia wasn't even the original name. It was what outsiders called it, especially the Greeks. Inside the country, the people called it something else. Iran, a name that existed for thousands of years. Iran means the land of the Aryans, a name tied to identity, heritage, and origin. So for years, there were two names: Persia, used by the world; Iran, used by the people. In the early 1900s, a man came to power, Reza Shah. He wasn't just a ruler, he was a reformer, a man who believed his country needed change. Real change. In 1935, a message was sent to the world. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, but it carried weight. Reza Shah made it clear, from now on, the country would no longer be called Persia. It would be called Iran. If you're enjoying this story so far, take a moment to like the video and subscribe for more stories like this. Now, let's continue. The world was confused. Why change something so well known? Why replace a name with such history? Many people didn't understand, and some refused to accept it. Even inside the country, there were mixed feelings. Some believed the name Persia carried prestige. Others believed Iran represented truth. This wasn't just a name change. It was a debate about identity. Reza Shah's decision wasn't random. It was strategic. He wanted the world to see his nation differently. Not as an ancient empire, but as a modern state. Strong, independent, unified. For years, foreign powers had shaped how Persia was viewed. Even its name was influenced by outsiders. Iran was different. It was internal, authentic, a reclaiming of identity. Slowly, countries began to follow the change. Diplomatic relations shifted. Iran became the official name in global politics. But still, the memory of Persia remained. Even after the change, the word Persia refused to disappear completely. In books, in culture, in art, it lived on. Eventually, a balance formed. Iran became the official name, but Persia became a symbol of history and heritage. And with time, the world adapted. New generations grew up knowing only one name, Iran. But beneath that name lies thousands of years of Persian history, still alive, still powerful, still remembered. The change from Persia to Iran was not just symbolic. It changed how the world saw the country. For centuries, Persia had been associated with beauty, poetry, and greatness, but suddenly, a new name stood in its place: Iran. And with that name came a different feeling, a different image, a different story. The world had grown comfortable with the name Persia. It felt familiar. It carried a sense of history and elegance. But Iran sounded new, stronger, more direct, less romantic, more real. Names shape perception. They influence how people think, how they feel, how they respond. By changing the name, Reza Shah was changing perception itself. He was reshaping how his nation would be understood. At the same time, Iran was going through major internal changes. Modernization had begun. Roads were being built, industries were developing, systems were being restructured. It was no longer just an ancient land. It was becoming a modern state, but transformation comes with tension. Some people embraced change, others resisted it. Tradition and modernity began to collide, and Iran stood at the center of that conflict. Reza Shah believed strongly in his vision. He wanted unity, strength, control. He believed that changing the name was part of building a stronger identity. Not every country accepted the change immediately. Some continued to use the name Persia. Others slowly adapted. Over time, Iran became the official name in diplomacy and global affairs. A strange divide began to form. Iran became the political identity. Persia remained the cultural identity. Two names, one nation. Even as the world adopted the name Iran, the memory of Persia remained strong. In literature, in art, in history, it refused to disappear. The story was no longer simple. It wasn't just about a name change, it was about identity, about how a nation chooses to define itself. As decades passed, global events began to shape how Iran was perceived. Politics, conflicts, international relations, all began to influence the image of the country. Unlike Persia, which lived mostly in history, Iran became connected to modern events, news, headlines, global discussions. This created a contrast. Persia felt distant, beautiful, and timeless. Iran felt present, complex, and powerful. With the new name came new responsibility. Iran was no longer just a memory of greatness. It was an active player in the modern world. Change always comes with a cost. And for Iran, that cost was perception. Some people embraced the new identity. Others longed for the old one. Despite everything, the word Persia never truly disappeared. It lived on in conversations, in books, in cultural references. Persia became more than a name. It became a symbol of heritage, of beauty, of a golden past. And so the dual identity continued. Iran represented the present. Persia represented the past, both equally important. Over time, a balance formed between the two identities. Neither fully replaced the other. They simply existed together. To truly understand Iran, you must understand Persia, because one cannot exist without the other. History does not disappear. It evolves, it transforms, and sometimes it changes its name. The legacy of Persia is still alive today, in architecture, in language, in culture. Even today, the word Persia inspires curiosity. It carries a sense of mystery, of greatness. Iran today is a modern nation, but beneath that modern identity lies an ancient foundation. Iran is not just one story. It is two stories combined, the past and the present. And as time moves forward, the world continues to watch Iran, to understand it, to interpret it, which brings us back to the question, did Persia really disappear? Or did it simply change form? Maybe nothing was lost. Maybe the name Iran was always there, waiting to be recognized. Persia did not vanish. It lives on, inside Iran. So the real question is not why Persia became Iran, The real question is, were they ever truly different at all?
If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel because there are many more powerful stories like this waiting to be told. And don't forget to share this video. You never know who might find it interesting.